Hello, 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 hello. Make me bigger. Okay. So what I have for you today is JBL VTX series. I had a gig in DC this week, and then I got back, and then the last few days I have added all of the VTX series to SubAligner. So the next time you open SubAligner and you click on JBL, now I need to make myself smaller again, you'll see a bigger list here. So there's a bunch more VTX speakers in here now. Hello, Lacan. So hopefully you guys can hear me and see me okay. I've screwed that up in the past. Okay. So yeah, a bunch of extra VTX speakers in here. So how did I get these in here so fast? Because I didn't go out and measure all these, unfortunately. Eventually, I would like to. And some of these I have measured, like I've measured the VTX V20 here at Legacy Audio in Minneapolis. But I didn't go out and measure all these because what I found out through talking to people at JBL and through reading the user's manuals is that everything in the VTX series is aligned to each other as long as you use the correct preset. And this is similar to a lot of loudspeaker brands, right? You load the 80 hertz preset in your main, you load the 80 hertz preset in your sub, and they should be good to go. That's the way it's designed. And that is the case for the VTX series, as far as I understand it. Now, JBL doesn't have any kind of preset guide that I could find, similar to the L Acoustics preset guide or the RCF delay guide, or even the Function 1 crossover settings page that we looked at last week. What they do have is they have individual preset guides for every amp, and then they have a manual for every speaker. But in every VTX speaker in the VTX series, it basically says the same thing, which is any VTX subwoofer can be used with any VTX loudspeaker without the need for subwoofer specific system configuration. You just need to make sure that, so you don't have to apply any additional delay if the sources are equidistant. You just have to make sure to select the correct preset. And there are a list of presets up here. Let's see if I skip over them already. Yeah, so then you have your list of presets. So fill, 80 hertz, and then nothing, basically full range, right? And then again, 80 hertz. And so this is what you'll see in SubAligner now. So if you click on V20, and what were we just looking at? We were just looking at A12. Anyway, if you click on V20, then you click on 80. Now there's a bunch of options here because I have actually measured the V20, and so now you can align that to any other speaker. But if we click on JBL and then one of these other ones that I haven't measured yet, like F18S, then now we can still have access to that alignment because it's here in the results. And what I wanted to also share with you is that I not only added as many of the models and presets as I could find, but I also attempted to add all of the ratios for how many subs to tops, for example. Let me see if I can find a quick example of that. Here we go. So if you have VTX A12, they're designed for a 3:2 minimum ratio of A12 to, say, B28 or S28 or G28. So you will see that reflected in SubAligner if you select an A12, for example. So you go to Align, JBL, and then A12 is here somewhere. And we have the 80 hertz presets available to us. And then in this example, I was talking about B28, for example. So now we can select a B28. And now I'm going to skip through this to show you that now on the balance levels page, it now has that manufacturer recommendation that is, I'll make this bigger, a 3:2 ratio. I think that's what it said. 3:2 ratio means that if you have one A12 and one B28, then you need to turn down the sub by 3.52 dB. Now let me make that more clear by actually creating a 3:2 ratio here. So I'll say I have 3 of these and 2 of these. So if we have a nice 3:2 ratio here, then I expect that the recommendation will be 0 decibels of offset. And that's what we get here, right? 0 and 0. And so this can just, a lot of this is affected by room acoustics, especially if you're inside and you have room gain and your system design. But this will give you a nice indication, especially if you were doing this beforehand and you wanted to see, do I have enough subs to keep up with my mains? And so if we had 10 mains, for example, 10 A12 and only 2 subs, and I click Align and go to Balance Levels, we can see, oh, we need to turn our mains way down so that our subs can keep up. Okay, well, maybe we need to add more subs. Well, how many subs? Well, you could just, trial and error, go back and forth until you add enough subs. But if you look at the manual, you'll see they recommend a 3:2 ratio. So that's what that is. This is my attempt to basically save you some time by going through all of the user manuals and all of the presets for you and attempting to encapsulate that, into an easy to use, easy to digest kind of format here in SubAligner. Now there was one outlier that I discovered, and this may be interesting for some of you or maybe not for any of you. But if you, let's see, it closed itself. I got to open it again. So there's this model I've never used called the, where is it? Here, I can find it over here first. There's one outlier, JBL. So if you have the VTX V25-2, I thought I had that open already. Let me see if I can find it. V25. Okay. Oh, you can't see this because I'm not sharing it with you. Let me share my entire screen 1 second. Share screen. Or maybe I'll just switch over to this. Okay, so if you have VTX V25-2 and you scroll down, oh, it's not this document. Sorry. Let me see if I can find the user's guide for the VTX V25-2. Because there's one interesting thing in there that I wanted to share with you. And if I can't find it real quick, I will just tell you about it. So, spec sheet, preset library. Was it in the spec sheet that I saw this? Okay. Well, I'll just tell you about it then. But it's for things like this that it's sometimes so hard just to find all this information because it's not, cataloged into a single document or a single web page. They don't make it super easy for you to find all this information. I mean, it is in the manuals and it is in the preset guides. But if you own, more than a couple of these products, then you need some way to find all this information. So what I found there, and maybe I have the wrong model. No, this is it. So the VTX V25-2, according to the user guide, has a preset called FLX. And what FLX does, it basically allows you to create an overlap crossover. So most of these attempt to create something more like a Unity class crossover, but this allows you to create an overlap crossover, and this is the outlier because now if you combine this with any of these subs, and we just skip to the result here, you'll see that you need a polarity inversion. So that's just one thing to watch out for. I don't know, seems like something that won't come up that often, but I don't know, maybe some of you out there own these VTX V25 too. Maybe you're combining it with some other things like a V20 maybe in an array. Oh, you can't see my other screen. Sorry about that. Here it is. Let me go back and do that again because I realized I wasn't showing it on screen. My fault. So JBL VTX V25 2. If you choose the FLX preset and then basically combine it with any sub, you're doing an overlap crossover now. And then when you get to the result, watch out because now you have a polarity inversion here that you need to handle. And so I don't know how many people out there are trying to do an overlap crossover, but I think it's nice that they give you that option. This is the only speaker that I saw this on. So let me know if there are any other sneaky things in the owner's manuals, user's guides, or preset guides that I missed. But this was the only outlier that I discovered. Everywhere else was pretty consistent. There's always, for most of these speakers, there's almost always an 80 hertz preset and a 60 hertz preset. And then that matches with the subwoofer. Oops, sorry about that. That matches with the subwoofer for its 80 hertz preset or 60 hertz preset. Now, not every speaker has all of these presets, and so I just had to check which is which for each of them. But yeah, they're all consistent except for this one. So one little interesting outlier there. So yeah, I'd love to hear if you guys get a chance to try this out in the field. If you are a person that is using the VTX series and you have a chance to try this out, let me know how it goes. So I'm calling these the manufacturer official presets, even though I did not get this information directly from them. I compiled it myself just by reading through the user guides. So if there's any minor mistakes in here, those are all mistakes I'm sure I made myself, and not because of anything from JBL. But I do want to say thanks to people that I've talked to at JBL for being so helpful in just sort of figuring out where to get this material and what things are supposed to be compatible with what other things. So I'm going to keep moving forward in this fashion because I've just found that the number one reason that people sign up for SubAligner or cancel their subscription is because they can't find the speakers that they need. And so I'm trying to, every week, add more speakers. And the fastest way to do that is if I can add, you know, an entire brand based on known compatibility issues. And so if there are things like, you know, preset guides and user guides, I can usually grab that information. So for example, I don't know if this will be the next thing that I do, but everything from what I understand in the JBL world, everything in the what's it called? One second. Performance audio. Everything in the SRX 900 series is also compatible with each other. So I should be able to add all of these things pretty easily as well. And then let me know what you would like me to add next. It is really fast and easy to add things to SubAligner when I can get their, you know, pre-alignment delay values directly from the manufacturer. And as much as possible, I've been trying to reach out to manufacturers to partner with them so I can get their official data, and then I can say, hey, this is exactly the data from the manufacturer. When that's not possible, then I go out and measure everything myself. And if I can't get access to it, then I ask you to measure it for me. So if you are a person that has, you know, speakers that you own, or you have access to a warehouse full of speakers and you would like to get those into SubAligner, I would be happy to help you do that. Now, if you're near Minneapolis, I'd be happy to come out and just help you in person. But if you are somewhere farther away, there are two things that I've been offering people. Number one, I'm happy to get on Zoom and talk with you about how to do it, walk you through it, basically tell you everything that I've done wrong in the past so that you can, help hopefully save some time. And number two, I'm offering to send people to measure them for you. So if you are not a person that feels like playing with audio analyzers is a valuable use of your time, then I can probably find someone near you who would like to do it. And I've done that a couple times already and gotten some really great measurements of some legacy speakers that then got added to Tracebook and then got added to SubAligner. And I'm happy to do more of that if it helps, keep this whole process going of adding more products and making them available in the app. One more question that I will put to you guys. One more question that I'll put to you guys before I go is, how many of you are trying to use SubAligner somewhere where there is no internet connection? Like there's no cell service and there's just no way for you to get online. Because that is critical to using SubAligner. To be able to access this stuff, you have to be able to connect to the internet. And I've heard occasionally from people that they're trying to access it, out somewhere. It seems like there's less and less of these places in the world, right? Like it seems to me like there's very few places in the world now where I go to do a show and there's no internet connection. Now, it does happen like in the bottom, you're really down low inside of a convention center or something, but still they have networks that you can connect to and pay for. Anyway, it seems pretty rare to me, but I do hear about it occasionally, so I'm curious if it happens to you as well. Okay, let me just check the chat since I've been ignoring that. Say hi to a few people. Hi, Du. Hi, Ronald. Hi, Vitor. Andy says, oh, Handy, I need this. Yes, you do, Andy. I'm just kidding. I don't know if you really do. Hi, Keith. Okay. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me here for a little bit and taking a look at some JBL VTX series speakers. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I'll see you on the next one. All right. Thanks, everybody.